Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. As you guys can see right there, we got 29 days left until the halving event, so we're getting closer. We're almost there. In the meantime, obviously Bitcoin has been coming down in price. We're about down 17% or so. We may still go down like another 3%. Last year we had these 20% dips, so we'll see if we get down to like maybe 59,000 possibly. But the miners obviously were a little bit mixed today. Some were up, some were down. We'll take a look at what's going on there. Then we'll also take a look at Mawson. They provided their operational update for February, and then we'll also take a look at what was it? Terawulf. Sorry, drawing a blank here. Terawulf provided their numbers for fiscal year 2023 Q4. We'll take a look at those numbers as well, and we'll call it a day. It should be a pretty easy day. But as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out in the channel tremendously. So please do that if you can. It doesn't cost you anything. Other than that, corrections will be posted if there are any corrections to Discord, which is through Patreon, and then YouTube community posts, as well as Twitter. So keep an eye on those places if there are any corrections. And then let's get into Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin was down quite a bit today. It was down 8.44% so far. It closed at 61,906. It's not a good day, obviously, but we kind of needed this. We needed a little bit of a pullback. It's a healthy pullback, I think. Getting a nice dip back down. And as you can see here, from the peak here where we were right around there down to where we finished up, it was about 16 to 17%, depending on where you look at it. So I think if we go down to the 20% mark, that would be roughly right around, let's see, right around 59,000 roughly, right? So we'll see if we get down to 59,000. We do have some support here right now at the, what is that right there, 61,000 mark. And we'll see if we can bounce off that. In the new day, we can see that we were up a little bit on the candle wake up here. We came back down a little bit. We'll see where this ends up at. It looks like it's starting to possibly go down a little bit more. But right now we're at 62,000. We'll see if this holds or if we go down. If we do go down, I'm expecting maybe 59,000, like a wick down to 59,000 and then back up. Okay, that's kind of what I'm expecting. We'll see if it happens, right? We're close to the halving event, 29 days away. And then the miners here were, like I said, kind of mixed on the day. Cypher has continued to have a nice rally here going into the green. It's up quite nicely here from where it bottomed out. If we look at where it bottomed here on January 24th to up here, it is up nicely, about 100% in gain so far. So that's a good rally it's had here recently. Just from the recent rally that we had on Cypher, we're up approximately 50% or so. So that's also a pretty good rally here. And then who else was up pretty nicely here? Mawson was up 7.14%. And that might be based on what they reported here for the production update. We'll take a look at it. But other than that, everything else was on the downside for the most side. A couple other miners in the green. And then MicroStrategy was down again here. If we look at MicroStrategy, that's having a nice pullback as well. I think that is needed. It was just way overbought. And it's down approximately 32%, right? So Bitcoin's down 17% or so. That one is down double. I think it still has room to obviously go down some more based on where Bitcoin is and everything else. I think it's just overshot a little bit here. So it definitely needs a healthy pullback here. Okay, but that's it on those. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have here, which is going to be on, the first one's going to be on Mawson. So Mawson Infrastructure Group Inc. announces monthly operational update for February 2024. Not much of an update here from them. I mean, there's quite a bit of information here, but I was surprised for one, they didn't provide actually what their end of month hash rate was. So we're going with what they had. Wish they would have provided this. And also I wish they would have provided the BTC number for their hosting and their self-mining separate, but they combined it all. But here's kind of how I figured things out. So total monthly revenue increased 141% year over year to about 5.42 million and equivalent of 109 Bitcoin. That's for self-mining and hosting as well. And then here we have the information. Self-mining business revenue increased 159% year over year and 23% month over month to 2.56 million. So the way I'm calculating this as far as what they self-mine was I'm taking that 2.56 million divided by the 5.42. I'm getting a percentage of that, and I'm basically multiplying that percentage by the 109 Bitcoin to figure out what was their actual self-mining Bitcoin for it. Okay, and then you guys can read the rest here. I don't think there's anything else that is of worthy to talk about. So let's get into the numbers that we do have here for Mawson, and we'll get into the Terawulf information. So Mawson right now has about 16.6 million shares outstanding. Stock price as of today was $1.05 or $1.50, sorry. Market cap 24 point, maybe you can say 25 million really if you round it up. Performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. but a lot of miners haven't been great either. Current hash rate, I have it about 4.5 or 1.4 exahash. Future hash rate about 1.8 roughly on that one. So they still have a little bit of growth potentially, but they haven't reported it as installing any miners there. And they also have some of the older miners, so I don't even know if those miners are operating right now. Okay. But you can see here, this is their BTC production here. It's up a little bit here in February, 51.48. So it looks like they were running for a little bit, few more days here than they did in January, which is nice to see there. And going down here, month over month difference, BTC HODL, they don't HODL anything. BTC per exahash efficiency, 34.59. So that increased a little bit here as well. BTC sold, they sell everything they mine. Hash rate, got them still at 1.48 exahash here, and they've been there since October of last year. Revenue up and down, as you can see here, best month was in December, 2.9 million, came down to 2.08 million in January, now up to 2.57. That's obviously contributed to Bitcoin price going up and possibly them operating for a couple more days in the month here, which is nice to see. Hash rate difference month over month. Then you got BTC sold value. They sell everything. So that's based on that. And that's only based on their self-mining. That's not including the hosting side of things. So that would be actually higher here. Last 4 quarters, we'll take a look at that when they actually report. Going down here, institution side of things, this is from 3.9, so 21 institutions, 1.3 million shares, so that actually decreased. Percentage owned by institutions also decreased to 7.87, and that was obviously decreased from the 8.51 that they had. We still have 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating for them. Price target is $3 for the high, average $2, and the low of $1 for them. Going down here, as far as what was operating here in February, I gave him about $135,000 in BTC transaction fees for it. And then they were operating for about 19.9 days on average, right? These miners here. And you can see here that they have the older miners, 90 terahash miners, 85 terahash miners as well. And it looks like a couple of these 90 terahash miners are not still operating here. And I don't know if they will be ever operating. We'll have to wait and see, I guess, until they report that. But that got us to the 2.567 million in revenue, which coincides with what we have here with 51.48 Bitcoin mined based on my calculation here. And that got us to the 2.567 million here as well. Okay. Based on that, if we look forward to the next basically 12 months, 1 month before the halving event at 100%, the next 11 months after the halving event at 50%, we have it between $2.51 to $3.76. And then if we look at historical numbers as far as the last 3 quarters and the current quarter that we're in right now, which is estimated, we're looking at $3.98 to $5.97. They're $1.50. There's a reason why they're undervalued right now, right? If you look at their balance sheet, total current assets was 13.6 as of Q3. Total current liabilities was 46.63. That's part of the reason there. Also, them having the older miners is the reason there. They're not growing. They're not increasing. They're not changing those out to newer miners. That's a reason there. So that's why they're undervalued. If they were growing, everything else all equal, that would definitely be much better price. Right now, they're being priced at what? About a 1, maybe a 2 PE ratio, looks like. I got to get rid of this one. Delete this. That one just popped up on me. But yeah, we got them at a PE ratio of 2 right now. It's kind of where they would be. Between 1.5 and 2, I guess you could say, on it. Right? If you look at it, 1.5 now overvalued. So somewhere between there. Okay. That's basically it for them. The big thing is they have grown their hosting, which is nice to see. Hosting is not usually that profitable. I would have preferred them to get their own miners. But with them being kind of in a cash crunch here, I can see why they're not doing it. But we'll see how they continue going forward. With the Bitcoin price being up where it's at right now, they do have a higher chance of survival after the halving event than they did prior. Unless Bitcoin continues to go down, when it goes down to like 50 or 40,000, at that point they might be in trouble. All right, so that's it for Mawson. Let's take a look at the next one here, which is going to be on Terawulf. So Terawulf reports 4th quarter and full year 2023 results. And going down here, you guys can read all of this fun stuff. Key things I want to take a look at here, obviously, was revenue increase 360% to 69.2 million in 2023, and as compared to 15 million in fiscal year 2022, driven by increased Bitcoin production and higher average realized Bitcoin prices during that period, which is all true. Gross profit increased 960% to 41.9 million in 2023, compared to 4 million in 2022. Non-GAAP adjusted EBITDA increased by 64.9 million to 30.7 million, as compared to negative 34.2 million in 2022. So those are all good things here. Reported cash and cash equivalents of 54.4 million at the end of the year, and then 1.3 million at the end of fiscal year 2022. So that's also good there. And then this one gets a little tricky here. Net debt, and then you got the Gosh, I keep forgetting what this is called. Footnote number 1 here, at fiscal year end 2023 declined 41% to 84.9 million as compared to 144.7 million at fiscal year end 2022. Net debt was reduced another 32% to 58 million as of February 29th, 2024, right? But here's the catch to it. Net debt calculated as the outstanding principal balance of the company's term loan less cash and cash equivalents, right? So they're basically calculating that as the debt that possibly could be wiped out. Now, they did wipe out 40 million here in the last couple of weeks here, which is nice to see. And I believe they're down to like 104 million at that point, but they obviously still have, well, we'll have to see how much cash they have left over after spending that on it. Okay, so that's kind of a little tricky one here that is a little bit hard to figure out. Okay, but that's that. Let's take the numbers that I have for Terawulf, and we'll probably call it a day. Should be an easy one today. Okay, Terawulf right now, 200, well, I don't know if that's the actual shares outstanding. I was still waiting for the 10K number to come out, the figures from the SEC. I have not seen those yet as of this report. And I was looking for the actual shares outstanding in there. The report that they put out did not have it in there. So we're going kind of with the old data that we do have here. So we'll get this updated when it does go live on the SEC website. But right now, this is what we're dealing with. So $1.72 for the stock price currently, market cap 409 million. Current hash rate 7.9 exahash, future hash rate 8.4. Definitely a little bit of growth there, and they definitely want to grow further beyond that, and hopefully they'll report something on that. BT self-mined, this is for the monthly stuff. We already covered this, obviously, for February, so we're not going to get into it too much here. Going down here into the actual quarterly metrics, here we can see that they have had nice growth in revenue, which is good to see. And then they're going to have a really good growth here in the current quarter, which is estimated at 44.6 million right now, as of right now at least. That might change depending where Bitcoin price goes, and then network hash rate, all that stuff is going to definitely impact it. But right now, that's kind of what we're looking at. Last 4 quarters, operating cost minus depreciation has been going up, obviously, through Q3, sorry. And then Q4 has come down a little bit here to 19.38, which is nice to see as well. So it's not bad at all. Cost to mine 1 Bitcoin minus depreciation here is at 13.7 thousand, up a little bit here from the 13.5 thousand in Q3. Bitcoin mine quarterly has been, Q2 was actually their better month here, 989, Q3, 944, but they're back up to 971 here in Q4. So that's a good sign there. Debt to equity has been getting lower, which is good to see. Current ratio has also increased a little bit here. So higher is better. So it's looking a little bit better here for them on this side of things, right? Total current assets right now as of Q4, 62.59 million. Total current liabilities, 154 million based on what they reported here. All right, going down here into their actual numbers. We'll get back into these numbers here in a second. Let's see here. Like I said, shares, I still don't have the shares for them. We'll get that updated when they do provide that. I'll try to make a note to remember to do that. But total current assets here. Big thing that changed here was prepaid expenses went up a little bit here to 4.5. Cash and cash equivalents also increased to 54 million here from 6.5. So that was good. Not sure if they diluted. That's why I want to see how many shares they have. And then total current assets, like we said, was 62.5. And that's a nice increase from the 12.9 that they had prior. Let's see here. Going down here, total assets increased to 378 million from 311 million. So that's good there. Liabilities also obviously increased to 154 million from 108 million. And that's mainly because of the long-term liabilities. They basically went from the prior year, or at least the prior 49.38 million probably got added into here, right? So total liabilities actually decreased a little bit here to 155 million from 157. So that's good there on that one. Going down here, revenues. Revenues, they normally would provide the total revenue for self-mining and the joint venture stuff. But they didn't provide it this time, so I'm estimating this number here at 35.3 million here for the quarter Q4. They came in at 108 estimate. This is probably estimated as well for 100.8 million for fiscal year 2023. That's why I'm waiting for the 10K numbers to come out. Hopefully they'll be in there. Self-mining they did report, which is obviously 69.2 million, and then for the quarter came out to be 23.2 million. Joint venture revenue estimated again from this number up here was 12.02 million for the quarter. Cost of revenue that was reported was 8.9 million here. So that's actually not too bad from the 8.2 million that they had the prior quarter. Going down here, gross profit came in at 14.3 million. Cost of operations came in at 19 million, it looks like. And let's see if we had anything big in here. Selling general SG&A for their own self-mining decreased a little bit here to 5.5, which is nice to see, from 5.7 million. And the SG&A for related party, which would be the joint venture, decreased from 4.5 to 3.2 as well. So that's good. Depreciation stayed in line as well, 8.2 million as compared to 8.2 here, pretty close. Nothing major there. And then obviously, if you look at total cost of operations, that came down to 19 million from 20 million. So that's good. And they're going in the right direction here. But they still had an operating loss of negative 4.6 million compared to negative 9. So that's still good there. They're going in the right direction here. Interest expense, that was 9.2 million here in Q4 compared to 10.2. So that's good. That's decreasing as obviously they're paying down their debt. Going all the way down here. Let's see here. Net loss attributable to common stakeholders was negative 10 million compared to negative 19 million. So that's good there. And then obviously I don't have the numbers for the shares, so we can't really figure out what the EPS was for the quarter here. But for the year, it was negative 35 cents right now. Okay. And that basically boils it all down. If we look at the numbers up top, we can see here we covered customized Bitcoin here was 13.7 million. 13.7 thousand on that, and that is based on taking the cost of revenues, dividing it by the number of calculated self-mined BTC. That's kind of what we're figuring there. Enterprise value, 409 million right now. Debt to equity and current ratio, we already covered that. Book to value, 222 million. Price to book ratio, 1.8. Enterprise value was 409. We covered that. EBITDA was 3.7 million. EV to EBITDA was 110. Okay. And then down here, if we look at revenue, self-mining plus JV, this is estimated at 35.3 million. General administrative came in at 8.7 for the total for the two. That was 24% there. And then revenue self-mining was 23.28, and general administrative for just self-mining was 5.5 million. 5.5 million. That came in at 23% as well. So that's not bad. I'd like to see that below 20%, but it's obviously been getting better here because as you can see here, it was 312%, 153%, 68%, 56, 38, 30, down to 23. That's what we want to see, right? We want to see that as low as possible on that number. So all things being considered, they're doing all the right things, it looks like, which is good. The only thing is obviously they still have quite a bit of debt, around 100 million or so, depending on how much they pay down here in the next couple months. They do have to pay that off by the end of the year. Maybe they'll restructure it, which they said that they would, or they might dilute some shares and pay it off that way as well. Overall, still good things to see here. They're obviously doing the right things, in my opinion. They just need to pay those off. And I think at that point, if they pay those things off, I think the stock would do a lot better going forward. But we'll have to obviously see. Right now, they're at $1.72. I think they should be between $4.30 to $6.45 right now. Definitely way undervalued, but I think it is because of the debt. Right? If you look at the assets to the current liabilities, that's the reason why. Once they pay that down, which they paid down 40 million here in the last couple of weeks, that brought them down to like 104 million, I believe, of debt left. And then if they pay down some more of that potentially and restructure it or something like that, restructure it for another 3-5 years, something like that, that would definitely lower it out and make it a lot better. Or if they just pay it off completely by diluting maybe. But that is it. Pretty simple here. They do have good growth. They do plan on growing further. As far as miners, like we talked about, they do have some orders on hand here for the 151 S19 XPs. And then they also have some miners over here, the 120 terahash miners as well, that are not in service yet. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. We'll see how they continue to grow, build out, and pay down the debt. That's the main things that they got to do. Other things are looking really good. SG&A looking good. All those other things are looking good. Costs are coming down on other things as well, so that's good to see. But that's it for Terawulf. Let me know what you guys think of them. And as always, the members here of Patreon get access to all these spreadsheets that I do, all these graphs, all these tables, 100,000 data points probably in here by now, right now, with all the different miners and the different metrics that we look at. So that's all available to you guys. Description or link is in the description down below. That is $8 a month. You might still have a couple spots at $5 and $4 a month as open as well. And that is it. That's my sales pitch for the day. That's all I sell to you guys. So we'll turn that off. And then we'll see what happens later on. Obviously, this coming week, we may have, I think, a couple more reporting as well. We're still waiting on a couple that are supposed to report, and we'll see what Bitcoin does. Like I said, I think Bitcoin might come down to 59,000. If it does, not a big problem. Also, I forgot to mention, I did buy some more Bitfarm stock today. I bought another 450 shares today at $2.25. Tried getting it at $4 or $2.15. That didn't happen. I had a limit order on it, didn't go through, so I bought a little bit higher than I wanted to. But I still think it's a decent, really good price right now. So that's kind of what I did today, probably for the week here at least. Yeah, but we'll see what happens later on. But that's it. Thank you so much for coming in. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments down below. Definitely try to answer those as fast as I can. And we'll see what happens later on this week. I'll see you guys in the next one.